Yo, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching YonCyclops. How you doing? Today I wanted to talk about an interesting mechanic, a mechanic that you probably never heard of, or if you do play this game, you probably never even noticed or you never paid much attention to it, but it's actually one of the most crucial mechanics in the entire game. It's a pretty unique mechanic. I've never heard this being used in any other kind of video game except this, King of Fighters 97. What are we here to talk about? We are here to talk about the relationship system. Right? Have you ever heard of it? Nope. There it is. So what that essentially says is that depending on the relationship between two characters, that would affect two specific interactions in the game. And whether your two characters are either red, white, or yellow, which is in this case happy, neutral, or angry, that will tell you what the relationship between two characters is. For example, the relationship between these two characters is red because they dislike each other. The very first possibility I would like to talk about, the very first expression, in other words, is the angry face or the red face. This one occurs whenever you pair up two characters who, for story purposes, do not get along with one another. For example, here we have Kyo and second character is Yashiro. Now Yashiro does not like Kyo, and this is for lore purposes because Kyo is an enemy of Orochi, while Yashiro is in fact someone who worships Orochi and is in fact one of the heavenly kings of Orochi. So two things happen when these two characters are together. First thing is, whenever Kyo is dizzied or he's in a clenched throw, he won't be able to escape. He will not be able to escape using Yashiro. He would have to rely on himself. The other main point about using this possibility, this expression, is that whenever you are knocked out, whenever your first character is knocked out, the disadvantage is that you lose any amount of meter that you've generated during your time with the first character. So as you can see here, when Yashiro steps in, the meter is gone. The next interaction I want to talk about is the neutral interaction, the neutral relationship between two characters. For example, Kyo and Benimaru. Two characters who have been consistent teammates up to this point all the way from KOF 94. Now these two characters are neutral towards one another because although they are friends, they're not best friends. They're not people who go to the club with one another, not people who you call. Benimaru is not really the guy you call to pick up a couch with you. So these two characters usually team up around tournaments, but they're not really friends outside the tournament. So their relationship is generally neutral. They don't hate each other, but they also don't love each other too much. They respect each other. So what happens when two characters are neutral towards one another? Well, not much really. There's not much of a disadvantage and not much of an advantage. Although I will say that the amount of advantage actually outweighs the amount of disadvantage. Reason for that is, whenever you get knocked down, and your character that comes after you is neutral to the character that comes before you, usually the meter stays the same. You don't lose any meter in this interaction. The meter stays the exact same. So if you have 1 meter, you stay with 1 meter. Also, the other good thing about these two characters, well, it's not really a good thing, but whenever you have two characters who are neutral with one another, usually, sometimes they will help you during anytime you are dizzy or anytime you are in a clinch grab. Sometimes they won't help you. It's kind of random. It's not really consistent. This is generally very beneficial for someone like Benimaru, because Benimaru is an all-around nice guy personality-wise, and so he tends to be neutral to most characters, and you don't very often see him struggling, mainly because he's just one of the best characters in the game. He has really good buttons, some of the best special moves. That Harakoken is safe on block. That is an invincible reversal. He has very good supers. He's usually a very versatile character who can deal with most situations. He has an invincible, measureless reversal. So it's just a character that's never really in any bad condition, and the fact that he's neutral with most characters means that if he comes after a character and that character has built meter, he gets that meter and he can use that to just add one other problem to his long list of advantages in the game. I hate this character. The third possible relationship, which is the happy face, the yellow face even. This one occurs whenever you choose two characters who are very positive towards one another. They have a very good relationship with one another. For example, Terry and Andy are brothers, which means they have a very good relationship with one another. And this one is also a very good relationship because Mary and Terry are love interests with one another. So this one is actually one of the most beneficial ones, actually. Okay, so first things first. The reason why this one is so beneficial is because no matter what, regardless of what situation you're in, as long as you are in the corner, if you ever find yourself in the middle of a clinch throw or you get hit into a dizzy, the character in the background will always assist you. Always assist you. No matter. As long as they are on screen, they will always come for the assist no matter what. There is no reason for them not to assist you because they will always try to help you because they always have a good relationship with you. That being said, this isn't something that's going to be useful very often because getting dizzy in this game and being clenched is not very common, but it's very beneficial also. Another extremely good, very good thing about having a positive relationship between two characters is that whenever the first character gets knocked out, no matter what, whether they have 0 bars, 1 bars, or 2 bars, the next character will always have an additional bar. So let's just wait for it to come in. And boom, went from 1 bar to 2 bars for nothing. Absolutely nothing. Mary just got 2 bars for doing absolutely nothing. So whenever this occurs, basically you can use the first character as nothing more than a battery which you use to fill in the meter, and the second character will always get 1 meter guaranteed. This is definitely one of the biggest upsides of this whole system. Characters with good relationships with one another always benefit greatly and can really lead to very damaging situations for whatever character comes in. So in this regard, it's always beneficial. If you are focusing on the system, it's always beneficial for you to choose characters with good relations with one another, because the second character will always have an additional meter, and in this game where meter can do from somewhat 75% to 50% damage, it's very beneficial for you. It's extremely beneficial, especially with characters who have very damaging supers, characters who can make big damage just from 1 bar of meter. Now, the only thing holding this back is the fact that you don't get that many characters who genuinely like one another. In most cases, characters have neutral relationships, and in other cases, characters just don't like each other. So it would take you a little bit of effort, but I would recommend that if you want to use this and you're just a middle level player and you really like your character lore, it would be very beneficial for you to just try to use the system to your best advantage. Now, you're probably asking yourself, do I have to do all the research to find all those good relationships with these characters? Yes, you will. It'll probably take a while for you to do. Wait, no you don't, because I already did that for you. Yep, this is quite literally a perfect relationship list right here. The teams you see right here are all teams with perfect synergy across one another. As you can see, Fatal Fury team, all these characters have good relationships with one another. It's always, if you choose one of these teams, you will always have yellow faces, and the next character, whether they be the second character or the third character, will always get an additional meter for you, no matter what the consequence. It is extremely beneficial for you to use these teams. These teams are very good for you. Okay, if you don't want to learn the meta, if you don't want to use all those top tiers, if you don't want to use bullshit like combos, this is how. This is the simplest way you can get free supers for basically nothing. It's like comeback mechanics, actually. Comeback mechanics. Now, realistically, this isn't something you have to worry about all the time, you know? Like, you could say that the system is bad because it forces you to know the story, otherwise, you'll fail at the game, but honestly, you don't have to worry about that too much. In most cases, relationships in this game are pretty neutral with one another. But that being said, I do want to transition into characters who do not really like a lot of characters. Some of the characters in this game are very isolated, characters who do not really get along with other characters, and you really have to be specific with who you choose just so you can get the benefits of this relationship system. My favorite example is CYS, Yashiro, Shirami, Chris, the Orochi team. These characters, as you can see, despite them being friendly at first glance, they don't really get along with a lot of the characters. You know, they're very good friends with one another. They're very, you could say, very antisocial, which is very funny because they're characters who you would expect to have, you know, good relationships with one another, but no. They tend to not like other characters. They really only get along with one another. You know, they don't like anyone. They don't get along with anyone. They're isolated. They keep to themselves. They don't see any interest in it. Wait. Oh no. No. Oh. No. No, 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 no. No. It can't be. So yeah, this is one thing I would like to talk about in the game, which is pretty unique. For whatever reason, the new face team, Yashiro, Shimi, Chris, seems to have a neutral relationship with Iori and Yamazaki. Now, this might seem strange because the two characters are generally, they have nothing in common. So this is where I have to start talking about the story. So basically, the reason why the Orochi team tends to be neutral towards Yamazaki and Iori is because by blood they are related to one another. Okay, remember when I said Yashiro was worshipping Orochi? Well, Yamazaki is also a member of that clan that worships Orochi. And so, despite the fact that Yamazaki wants nothing to do with them, they always leave a door open for him. They always expect him to come back to them, which is why they always give him opportunities, which is why they'll always accept any help that he gives them. So whenever you choose a team and you put Yamazaki as your first character and then you use one of the Orochi team as a second character, they always get a meetup because they'll always accept Yamazaki, even though he doesn't like them. The same applies for Iori. Now Iori is a bit more complicated, but essentially his family made a blood pact with Orochi, and so he also has Orochi blood in him, which is why, same reason, the Orochi team accepts Iori as well. And if you ever choose Iori as the first character, they will always take whatever meter he has. They'll always assist him every now and then whenever he's in trouble. Now, my problem with the system is that I think it might be a glitch because the relationship is definitely one-sided. It's actually pretty toxic even. And my reasons for that is because Yamazaki and Iori are easily the least nice people in the entire game. You want to talk about people who don't associate with anyone? These are the two most antisocial characters in the entire game. You will never see Yamazaki with a yellow face. You will never see Iori with a yellow face because these characters are genuinely antisocial people. Yamazaki at first he's not a good person. If you see the way he fights, you can tell that this dude is not sane at all. He's not mentally stable, and that is because Yamazaki in the story is a crime boss. He's a gang boss. He's a gangster. He is driven by nothing but money. Literally nothing but money. He works only on his accord. He will do literally anything for anyone who pays him the right price. He just does everything out of absolute greed. He's not a good person. Anything with money, he will do it. The only reason he's in this game for story reasons is because he got paid for it, because that's who he is. Completely despicable character, despite how cool he is. Completely despicable character. Doesn't help anyone. Does not accept anything but money from other characters. Just genuinely despicable person. In fact, the reason why the Orochi team, if you remember, the Orochi team likes him is because he's a member, but he does not care about them. In fact, he belittles them for their association with Orochi. He thinks they're idiots because they're sacrificing themselves, something which he would never do. And last but not least, the next character I want to talk about is Iori. Iori is, you may not notice it, but he's also not a very nice guy. He's not a very nice guy. He tends to be very antisocial towards the other characters. He tends to be very spiteful towards other characters. He has no respect for the other characters. Even during his attacks, he's always taunting other characters, saying what's wrong. If you listen to whatever he says during his moves, he's always taunting the opponent. He's not actually saying the names of the moves out loud. He's usually saying stuff like, what's wrong, scream and die, edgelord shit like that. So you look at the way he is, and some people can tell that this guy does not get along with any people. Looking at the aggressive stance, he does not allow any characters to help him. He does not get any meter. So if you ever wondered why whenever you choose Iori as a second character or third character, sometimes you can have 3 full bars, but if he comes in, they're all gone. And that's because he does not accept assistance from everyone, because everyone to him is puny and weak. And also, if you wondered why you've never seen Iori jump out of the background to help a character, it's because he literally doesn't have an animation where he does that. He doesn't do that. And before you say, no, that's an exaggeration. It's an exaggeration. Everyone helps characters. Look at this. Look at this. Kyo has 3 full bars. He can do so much with that meter. Okay, Iori has one of the most damaging level 2s in the entire game, but guess what? Gone. Completely gone. Back to square one. A character who does so much with meter in this game will simply not use it because of lore reasons. In conclusion, the relationship system is something that I've never seen happen in any other fighting game. I've never seen this happen in any other kind of video game either. And that's for a couple of reasons. The first reason I can think of is that there aren't that many team fighting games. In fact, King of Fighters is one of the first, if not the first, fighting games to ever allow you to play more than one character at a time. And so I really respect what they did here. They really tried to emphasize the story, because King of Fighters 97 has some of the best story in the entire series. Most people say it's the best arcade mode in the entire series. I think I agree with that, because no other arcade mode really gives you a sense of emotion similar to that, to the game. So I agree with that, and I actually appreciate the idea of it, but competitively it's not a good thing. And I doubt that this will ever come back in a future game, because it just wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't make sense, because nowadays you watch a King of Fighters game, they always give you the meter for free, and it just is not beneficial for the player if you have to worry about story, because at the end of the day, which character is the strongest power-wise is always going to be more important than which character has the base relationship with the other character. And it's a shame. It's a shame that we're not really expected to care about the story nowadays in video games. Sometimes, flashiness is always better than substance. Any game that has flashy graphics will always be more important than the game that has actual substance in it. The reason why King of Fighters has this dedicated audience in the first place is because they really have characters that can make you care. When you play this game, you watch the story modes, you really care. When you see Kyo punching Iori in the back and killing Orochi, it makes you care about it. It makes you wonder what happened to him afterwards. And so maybe it's not the best example, but I actually would like to see this in a future King of Fighters game. Maybe not as a main mode, but maybe it's just as a nice thing where you can play with your friends, where you can just learn about the story through maybe extreme, but I feel necessary purposes. We've reached the conclusion of the video. If you enjoyed watching this video, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of a next video posted. I'm trying something different. I don't usually do videos where I record my voice, but here we are. I had an interaction with someone, and they really encouraged me to try and put more effort into my channel. And I'm glad that he did that, because it gave me some confidence that I may have needed into putting into the channel. So please stick around. I'm definitely going to be doing more content like this in the future, and maybe I'll stop stuttering, maybe. See ya.